friends, thanks for joining us for another avian home adventures. Today we are going to be bringing out our king vulture Pishi. Everybody loves her. We've gotten a lot of requests saying, hey, we want to see Pishi again, and Pishi is ready to go. So today we're going to be bringing Pishi out on her playground, and you can see she is ready to go. She is excited. She definitely is ready to play on that playground. So today, Pishi is going to be getting her entire meal cut up into bite-sized pieces. Now you guys at home might be taking guesses in your heads as to what that might be. This is cut up rat. Oh yes, very, very tasty. Rat is one of Pishi's favorite foods here. Normally she enjoys her rat spaghetti, which is rat intestines. But since I don't want to touch the rat intestines as I feed her on the playground today, I took those out. So today it's just the rat meat. It makes it a little bit easier for me to handle and give to her. But don't you worry, there is a video of her eating rat spaghetti if you guys are interested in watching her take apart an entire rat. It is very entertaining. A little bit gross, but very entertaining.
What was the white powdery substance on her food?
Ooh, what was the white powdery substance? That's a good question. So there's actually two different things that she got today. Today is calcium day, so every single bird gets a calcium supplement on their food. We give these guys vitamins and calcium on certain days just to make sure that they stay nice and healthy. She also gets something called cosequin, and that just is to help prevent any arthritis from happening or prevent it from getting sore at all. So a little bit of both. Again, we have those awesome different medicines that we can do to help make these guys have a high quality of life as they live here with us. All right, she is waiting for me. I'm gonna go grab her. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to write them. Kate will shout them out. Kate is gonna do a lot of the talking here so I can focus on Pishi. But please ask questions so we can talk about vultures all day long, but we're always interested in hearing what you guys want to know. So
Hi, Jeff.
I'm gonna go get her, and I'll be right back.
So you'll notice when Pishi comes out, she's not going to have any equipment on her. Our trainers work really hard with building good relationships, especially with our vultures. You also met a Seriama who didn't have equipment on. And so they build really trusting relationships with them to make sure that they can just stay with the trainer. We use different things like target sticks and of course that positive reinforcement with food to build those trusting relationships. Vultures' legs aren't as strong as other typical raptors, hawks and owls and eagles. And so that's why we don't put equipment on them. Instead, we just have them follow along with us. So here comes Pishi. So this playground is right next to her home, and it is on the public trail. So when we open back up again, this is something that we often do just randomly throughout the day so guests can get more of an up-close personal encounter with our beautiful king vulture. It was a chilly evening and a chilly start to the morning, so Pishi has been finding little patches of sunlight to warm herself up and to kind of absorb some of that beautiful sunlight coming through the trees. Jeff asks if the worst part of our job is cutting up the food. It's definitely not the most fun part of our job, but it is fun in a way that we get to be creative with the food that we use, and we get to sometimes make it fun for our birds. As an example, this morning McKenna was taking the parts that we often discard when we cut up the food. That's going to be the feet and the tails, sometimes the heads of the animals. Oftentimes when we're giving those reinforcements, we focus mainly on the body cavities, the internal organs, the really highly nutritious parts. And so she actually took some of those less desirable parts of the animal, and she put them into Dixie cups and she froze them, and those will become popsicles for some of our birds. It's really fun. We give it to them frozen. They wait for it to melt, and then they start to eat it or play with it. It's a really fun treat, enrichment treat in the summertime when it gets really hot here. So this playground was inspired by kind of natural history of vultures. They really do spend a lot of time on the ground if they're not overhead soaring and riding thermals. They do spend a lot of time on the ground. And Pishi used to go on walks around the park. And what we found is that most of the time when she would go on a quote walk, she would stop and she would want to climb on things. She would climb on tree stumps and she would climb on the benches that we have around. So we decided that instead we would give her a constructive way to do this and a way that we could share her with our visitors when they come. So that's what inspired this playground. She has posts that she can jump from. She has a zigzag maze back there that she has to make her way through. She's got the up and down teeter-totter, so all kinds of fun things that not only keep her physically stimulated, but mentally as well. She's got to figure out how to get from place to place. Vultures are very intelligent. Sometimes they're compared to 3 or 4 year old children, and they are very intelligent, and so we like to keep their brains working. You've seen McKenna work with our black vultures with painting and doing color recognition. So for Pishi, this is really stimulating for her to be out here. So Pishi is going to go back home, and we'll watch her as she comes back home and some of the fun things that she does when she comes back home. She'll get to eat through some of the food that she didn't get, and then she might do some fun things like feeking, which is the act of cleaning their beak off after they've eaten. So you might see her rub her beak on that gray turf. Oftentimes Pishi also likes to give herself a nice scratch, and she will sometimes use that gray turfing. She will also sometimes use, oh, I can't see it. She has over here a brush that we've attached to the base of her perching. It's just the top of a broom, but the bristles are really strong, and she really likes to scratch her face on that. She's kind of like a dog. Oh, that was a beautiful yawn. That lets us know that she is satiated, that she has had her fill of food. What she's doing is trying to push her food down through her digestive system, down into her stomach when she does that yawn.
You guys might notice too, she has a bulge that wasn't there before on her chest. That bulge is her crop, and that also tells us when that bulge is there that she is full, that crop is nice and full. So you guys might notice Pishi has a lot of beautiful coloring on her head. Different beautiful rainbow colors. You got the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and then she has the black around her face, which kind of makes the colors pop a lot more. We're not exactly sure why she has the coloring that she does. These guys are found in South America. And so there might be a couple different reasons. It might attract a mate. The brighter your colors and the more beautiful you are, the more attractive you are. But we're not really sure why she has those very distinct colorations.
She's also got, now that she's shaking her head around, You can see that growth on the top of her beak. It's called a caruncle. And for a long time, scientists didn't know what that was for. Oh, there's some scratching going on. But what they've figured is that is to attract a mate, that caruncle. There we got some good head scratching in. She does have some very fine feathers on the top of her head, but for the most part, like with most vultures, she does not have feathers on her head. And that is a really cool strategy to keep them clean. As we know, vultures eat mainly dead stuff, carrion, and they are a lot of times jamming their heads into rotting carcasses. When you do that, you don't want to have a lot of feathers on your head that would build up really gross and capture that really gross meat. And so they keep their head nice and clean by not having feathers on it. People often think that vultures are gross birds because they do eat dead stuff, but they have lots of really cool adaptations for keeping themselves clean. You'll notice that her feet and her legs are white. That's not actually the color of her skin. That is because she urinates on her legs. It does a couple different things in the warmer months. It's going to help cool them off, but it also, because their stomach acid is so strong when it comes out the other end, it's very sanitary. So it's kind of like washing your hands or sanitizing your hands, and they will often do it after they have been standing. Oh, there she goes. After they've been standing on a rotting carcass, once they've had their fill, they'll jump off and then they'll pee on their legs to help keep themselves really clean.
Yeah, you'll notice she poops straight down. A lot of other raptors shoot their poop, which is actually kind of cool. They prefer to keep their nests clean, so they were taught by their parents when they were young to shoot the poop up and over the edge of the nest. Eagles are actually capable of shooting their poop up to 6 feet. So kind of a random fact. I bet you didn't know you were going to learn about shooting poop today, but it is always a fun fact we like to share, especially when they demonstrate how they poop.
Jim wants to know, do they find their food by sight or smell, or how? How do they find their food?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with these guys, they tend to use their sight to find their food a little bit more than their smell, which is kind of cool because some vultures have a really good sense of smell. But if she looks at the camera again, take a close look at her nares or her nostrils. They're actually not that wide and you can't really see through it. So that tells us she might be able to smell some things, but she really mainly focuses on her eyes in order to find her food. If you guys go back, if we show off turkey vultures at all, you'll notice turkey vultures, you can see straight through their nares or straight through their nostrils, and that allows all sorts of smells in, and they have a really good sense of smell. Same with the lesser yellow-headed vultures. They also have really big nares. So these guys mainly use their sense of sight. They might be able to smell things, but not quite the distance of some other species of vultures.
The other thing they use is their size. So they will often follow behind smaller vultures like the lesser yellow-headed vulture, who are really good at tracking down food, and then they will bully their way in and take food. Because they are bigger, they have really, really strong beaks, and they are going to be one of the larger of the vulture species. Now, they are found in the same area as, say, the Andean condor, so if that bird comes along, the king vulture is going to give up their food. Oh, we're doing lots of good yawning today.
Yummy rat.
She's very happy.
Now today was or is a chick day, so the rest of the birds get chick. Day-old chick. It has a yolk sac in it. Really nutritious, really good for birds. Pishi is not a fan of chick. If we put chick in front of her, she won't eat it. So our birds living here are a little bit spoiled. We know she doesn't like to eat chick, so instead of giving her chick, we give her a nice juicy rat, which happens to be her favorite. So Pishi here, definitely one of our favorites. And that's also why we give these guys all sorts of different vitamins that are healthy for them, just to make sure everyone is getting that well-rounded diet.
And yes, she is spoiled.
But that's part of the fun of our jobs for sure. Getting to work close up with these birds and creating the highest quality of life we possibly can for them.
Trying to zoom in to show off her colors because she does. So her name, we keep calling her Pishi. It's actually spelled Pishi, and that's actually the shortened version of her name. Her full name is Pishi Matakoa, which actually means rainbow in Comanche. And so that's how she got that name, is because of her beautiful rainbow colored face. Hey, Ernie.
All right, I think we are gonna get out of here. We have some more birds to go work, but thank you guys so much for joining us and watching us. We really appreciate it. Kate and I are going insane not doing education programs. That's what we love to do. So doing this for you guys really is a lot of fun for us, and we appreciate you guys watching.
And donating. Thank you for donating.
Yes. Every little bit really helps us take care of these birds and make sure that we're here for them. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys supporting us in any way that you truly can. Stay tuned the rest of this week, and we will chat with you guys later.